Stop scrolling, because what I'm about to tell you could put you inside the biggest sporting event on planet Earth, completely free. The 2026 FIFA World Cup is happening right now, right here in the United States. And this is not just any World Cup. This is the largest World Cup in history, featuring 48 national teams and 104 matches across the US, Canada, and Mexico. To put that in perspective, FIFA President Gianni Infantino himself said, the Super Bowl has about 120 to 130 million viewers. The World Cup has 6 billion. 6 billion people watching, and you could be inside the stadium. Now, here's what nobody is talking about loudly enough, especially for our seniors who served this country. Bank of America, FIFA, and the nonprofit Vet Tix have joined forces to put $2.25 million worth of free World Cup 2026 tickets into the hands of veterans, active military, and first responders, and their families who live near a host city. That's not a raffle. That's not a scam. That is a real, verified program happening right now. Over 4,500 tickets are available through Vet Tix, starting with the second match played in the US, and they cover all stages of the tournament, all the way to the grand final. On top of that, 250 special tickets have been set aside specifically for U.S. men's national team matches in honor of America's 250th birthday. And it doesn't stop at veterans. Current and retired law enforcement officers, firefighters, EMS providers, registered nurses, and even 911 dispatchers are also eligible to apply through the First Tix platform. Whether you served in uniform, ran into burning buildings, or answered emergency calls in the middle of the night, this country is finally saying thank you with a seat at the greatest show on earth. But here's the thing, these tickets will not wait for you. Spots are going fast, and once they're gone, they're gone. If this video just saved you a seat at the World Cup, do me one small favor right now. Smash that like button. It takes 1 second, and it helps me get this information to every senior who deserves to know about it. Let's go. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, this sounds too good to be true. I completely understand that. We've all been around long enough to know that when something sounds like a gift, there's usually a catch hiding somewhere in the fine print. But I need you to stay with me right here, because this time, there is no catch. This is a real, verified, legitimate program that has already been announced publicly by some of the biggest names in American business and international sports. And if you qualify, you could be sitting inside a World Cup stadium before this summer is over. Let's talk about what the 2026 FIFA World Cup actually is, because I want you to truly feel the size of this moment. This is not just a soccer tournament. This is the single largest sporting event in the history of human civilization. Think about that for a second. The Super Bowl, which every American knows and loves, draws about 120 to 130 million viewers. The FIFA World Cup draws 6 billion. That's not a typo. 6 billion people around the world stop everything they're doing and watch. And this year, for the first time in 3 decades, it is happening right here on American soil. And not just in one city, but across 11 American cities simultaneously. We're talking about Atlanta, Boston, Dallas, Houston, Kansas City, Los Angeles, Miami, New York and New Jersey, Philadelphia, Seattle, and the San Francisco Bay Area. 11 cities, 11 stages. And the crown jewel of all of it, the grand final on July 19th, will be your that's your mine, your dear just crane, your dear true. Be played at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, one of the biggest stadiums in the entire world. The last time the United States hosted this tournament was back in 1994. That was over 30 years ago. Many of you remember that summer, the excitement in the streets, the energy in the air. Well, that energy is back. And it is bigger, louder, and more electric than ever before. This year's tournament features 48 national teams competing across 104 total matches. To put that in perspective for you, the last World Cup in Qatar had 32 teams and 64 matches. So we are talking about nearly double the action, double the drama, and double the memories. Countries from every corner of the planet have sent their very best players to compete right here in America. Argentina, The defending world champions, led by the legendary Lionel Messi, currently sits at number 1 in FIFA's world rankings. Right behind them are Spain, France, England, and Portugal, 5 of the most feared soccer nations on earth, all coming to play in cities you may have driven through, lived in, or called home. And here is where I want to slow down and speak directly to every veteran and every senior watching this video right now. Because this program we're about to discuss was built with you in mind, not as an afterthought, not as a footnote, but as the centerpiece of a deliberate, meaningful thank you from some very powerful institutions that recognize what your generation gave to this country. Bank of America, FIFA, and a nonprofit organization called Vet Tix have come together to create a $2.25 million free ticket program specifically for veterans, active duty military members, first responders, and their families. This announcement was made official just days ago, and the tickets are already beginning to be distributed. More than 4,500 seats have been made available across all 11 U.S. host cities, covering every stage of the tournament, from the very first group stage matches all the way through to the grand final itself. And if you're a veteran or a currently serving military member, all you need to do is sign up for a free account on the Vet Tix website. Verify your eligibility through a secure platform called ID.me, and then wait for an email alert when tickets become available in your area. That's it. No long lines, no complicated applications, no fees. But here's what I really want you to hear. This program also extends beyond military service. If you spent your career as a law enforcement officer, if you wore a badge, walked a beat, and kept your community safe, you qualify. If you were a firefighter who ran toward flames while everyone else ran away, you qualify. If you worked as an EMT or a paramedic, responding to emergencies in the middle of the night when people were at their most vulnerable, you qualify. If you were a registered nurse who spent decades caring for patients with your whole heart, you qualify. And if you were a 911 dispatcher, one of the most underappreciated jobs in all of public service, sitting at that desk and being the calm voice in someone's most terrifying moment, you qualify too. All of these incredible Americans can access tickets through a sister platform called First Tix, which operates the same way as Vet Tix. Sign up, verify, and get notified when tickets are available near you. Now I want to address something that matters a great deal to our senior community, and that's the question of whether this feels accessible. Because I know that for many of you, the idea of navigating websites and online platforms can feel a little overwhelming. And I want to reassure you right now, like both Vet Tix and First Tix were designed to be user-friendly. If you have a smartphone or a computer and you can follow simple steps, you can do this. And if you have a grandchild, a neighbor, or a friend who's a little more comfortable with technology, ask them to sit with you for 20 minutes and help you get registered. This is worth 20 minutes of anyone's time. This is a World Cup ticket we're talking about, free of charge. Let's also talk about the scale of what you'd actually be attending, because I think it's important you understand just how spectacular this experience would be. These are not small venues. We're not talking about a minor league stadium or a local field. The venues hosting the 2026 World Cup are some of the most iconic sports arenas in America. MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, which will host 8 matches, including the grand final, holds over 82,000 people. A T&T Stadium in Dallas, one of the semifinal locations, is one of the most technologically advanced stadiums ever built. Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, another semifinal venue, features a retractable roof and a breathtaking 360-degree video display that wraps around the entire interior of the building. These are world-class facilities, and if you receive a ticket through this program, you will be sitting inside one of them, surrounded by tens of thousands of fans from every nation on Earth, watching the best soccer players in the world compete at the highest level imaginable. And speaking of things to look forward to, the grand final on July 19th at MetLife Stadium will feature a halftime show. FIFA confirmed that Coldplay will be involved in putting together the halftime entertainment inspired by the tradition of the NFL's Super Bowl. So you're not just attending a soccer match, you're attending a full-scale international spectacle, an event that will be talked about for the rest of your life. Now let's get practical for a moment, because I know that's what many of you need. You need to know exactly what to do, step by step, so you can take action today. The first thing you need to do is figure out which category you fall into. Are you a veteran or an active duty military member? Then Vet Tix is your platform. Are you a retired or current first responder, law enforcement, fire, EMS, nurse, or 911 dispatcher? Then First Tix is where you need to go. Both platforms are completely free to join. You will be asked to verify your service or employment history through ID.me, which is a secure, government-trusted identity verification system. It's the same system used by the VA and many other federal agencies, so you can trust it completely. Once your account is verified and active, you will receive email notifications whenever tickets to a World Cup match near your city become available. At that point, you simply claim your seats. And I want to be very clear, these are real tickets to real matches. You'll be going through the gate, sitting in the stands, and experiencing the World Cup live. Here's another detail I want to highlight because it's particularly meaningful. Out of the 4,547 total tickets in this program, 250 of them have been specifically set aside for U.S. men's national team matches in honor of America's 250th birthday this year. Think about that. You could be in the stadium watching your country's team play on the biggest stage in the world as America celebrates a quarter millennium of independence. That is a once-in-a-lifetime, never-to-be-repeated experience. And it is being offered to the very people who spent their lives defending and serving this nation. I also want to take a moment to give you a little bit of context about why this program exists and why it matters so deeply beyond just the excitement of the sport. We live in a time when it can sometimes feel like the contributions of veterans and public servants go unnoticed. The daily sacrifices, the missed holidays, the physical toll, the emotional weight of the work you did for decades, these things don't always get the recognition they deserve. But when an organization like Vet Tix, which has already distributed over 53,000 free tickets just at the FIFA Club World Cup last year alone, partners with a global institution like FIFA and a major financial institution like Bank of America to put $2.25 million behind a thank you to service members and first responders. That's not a publicity stunt. That is a genuine expression of gratitude, and you deserve to accept it. I also want to remind you of something important about timing. The World Cup is already underway. The tournament kicked off on June 11th and runs through July 19th. That means there are matches being played right now, and the window for claiming tickets is not going to stay open forever. Every day that passes is a day fewer tickets remain available. The seats being offered through Vet Tix and First Tix cover the full range of the tournament, group stage through the final. But supply is limited and demand is enormous. Thousands of eligible veterans and first responders across the country are learning about this program right now, and the people who act quickly are the ones who will find themselves in those stadium seats. The people who say, "I'll get to it later," are the ones who will be watching from their couch, wishing they had moved faster. So what I'm asking you to do right after this video ends is to take out your phone or sit down at your computer and get registered. If you're not sure whether you qualify, assume that you might and go check. The worst thing that can happen is you find out you're not eligible and that costs you nothing but a few minutes. But the best thing that can happen is that you get an email next week telling you that there are free World Cup tickets waiting for you in your city, and you walk into that stadium on match day, wearing your country's colors, surrounded by thousands of roaring fans from around the world, watching history unfold right in front of your eyes. You spent years, maybe decades, giving to this country. You served in uniform or you served in ways that kept your neighbors safe, healthy, and alive. You showed up day after day in ways that most people will never fully understand. And now, in the summer of America's 250th birthday, during the greatest sporting event ever held on this soil, there is a seat waiting for you. All you have to do is claim it. Don't let it go to waste. Don't let someone else sit in the chair that belongs to you. Get registered. Stay alert for that email notification and get yourself to the World Cup. This is your moment. This is your summer. And this country owes you a standing ovation. So let's start with a front row seat.